All right, welcome back, everybody. The Weekly Source. Excited to have you here today. Really excited for our guest today. We've got Shelley Bailey, founder and CEO of Famlee. Shelley, welcome to the Weekly Source.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
So we know a bit about Famlee. It's the nation's first 50-state fertility telehealth solution. You're combining at-home labs, clinical treatment, and medication delivery. So we'll dive more kind of into the product and what you guys are offering. But want to first kind of take a step back and learn a bit about your story and how you came to found and start Famlee.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks for asking. I spent 20 years in healthcare, so I did not spend 20 years in the fertility industry, but I previously owned a specialty pharmacy and worked 100-hour weeks for many, many years, and was fortunate enough in 2018 to sell the business. And I thought, I'm going to take a little break from working and see what I can do to expand our family. And when I wasn't getting pregnant and I went to my OBGYN, she just said, "Hey, Shelley, you're geriatric already. I think you should just go straight to IVF." But I just felt like there probably was a little bit of something that we could do before we move straight to IVF. So I went on my own little health journey. Found another provider who was really focused on the fact that ovulation challenges and hormone imbalances are, often caused by stress and other factors. And once you know what your labs are, you're able to kind of help treat and see what could be done for fertility. So it was a great story for me. We were able to balance my hormones and improve my ovulation with really inexpensive generic medications. So I was able to conceive, and that was wonderful for me. And I started sending girlfriends to the same doctor to, help them have those type of great outcomes. And they started conceiving or maintaining their pregnancies as well. So that felt really great. And so the end of 2020, I decided, okay, let's see what we can do to, bring together my professional network in the healthcare space and see what we can really do to offer this type of support at scale, as opposed to my, little referral network that I had built here in Oregon.
Right. No, that's fascinating. So, you talked about IVF oftentimes is the default alternative, but can you maybe speak a bit more, not necessarily the downside, but maybe the drawbacks of not understanding alternate options that are out there, especially knowing the cost associated. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one thing in the healthcare industry, and this is the same in pharmacy, which is the world that I came from, but there's this whole push to get doctors to practice at top of licensure. So Famlee is this great kind of middle step solution to do at-home lab testing, with fertility, telehealth, and treatment. Something else I borrowed on from my background in specialty pharmacy, we really focused on serving individuals with HIV and hepatitis C. And there's laws that prevent companies from just testing someone for HIV without treating them. So we would never, 20 years ago, have tested someone for HIV and then said, "Oh, you have HIV, good luck." And then just send them on their journey. And so when I was going through my own kind of process with the fertility challenges I was having, I was buying at-home kits and getting my own answers. And as all that did was just scare me. And I didn't always have a place to go. And so that testing and treatment that I did for 20 years in HIV and Hep C is also what I wanted to bring into the fertility space. I felt very happy that, we have this solution that's discreet. People can do it from home. They're able to meet with our same telehealth providers throughout their journey.
No, that's incredible. And very helpful to see where it's kind of positioned. And to your point, something to think about before, during, while you're on the wait list. I mean, that's super enlightening. So before we kind of get into value to employers and our call to action at the end, talk me through. So company signs up, an HR leader is eager to provide a solution like Famlee for their teams. How do you guys work from a at-home kit to response?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's really easy to work with Famlee. We work with employers under a PPM plus utilization based model. The PPM is exceptionally low, but we receive the eligibility files from an employer, and once we have that information, our warehouse sends someone kind of their kit to get started. The steps for the journey for the employee is they download the mobile app. That's where we do all of our fertility intake for the telehealth visits. They use their at-home labs timed against certain times of their menstrual cycle. And then once their results are ready, then they receive an email to schedule their first telehealth visit. At the time of that visit, they're very productive visits because the doctor already knows your medical history. They know your lab results. So at appointment 1, you are already getting, any lifestyle intervention counseling, but then specifically for our model, most individuals end up with prescriptions. And these are generic medications. Of course, we're focused on reproductive hormones, but we're also looking at what is driving the imbalances in reproductive hormones. Most of our appointments right now, since we have 50-state coverage, people are able to schedule those first telehealth visits within 72 hours of their lab results. I mean, I could barely get into like a walk-in clinic here in Oregon within 72 hours. And
Incredible.
that's something that we're really excited about.
Oh, that's fascinating. And it's good to see the box too, and kind of put a visual to it. When you think of, we were talking before we started recording with your 8-month and toddler at home, and my wife and I, we have a 3-month, and kind of the path to having a child is different for everybody, and the stresses and the absenteeism. Like when you think about what you and your team are providing as a value for employers, how do you think of that value, whether it is cost savings or peace of mind?
There's employers out there who, for whatever reason, aren't able to provide IUI, IVF, adoption surrogacy options just because, it's not in alignment with their budget or other factors. So I think it's great that for those types of employers, they can feel confident that they're offering some sort of solution to their employees. I can share that we have a success rate of 35%, which maybe to an outsider doesn't sound fantastic, but it's actually very compelling. IVF success rates after 3 attempts are similar. Now, we can't address people with known chromosomal or structural abnormalities, but for basically anyone else, we are a great first step therapy approach. So if I was a HR lead or a total rewards type of person, I would feel confident that, hey, we are at least getting you some sort of answers now and treatment, so that either if we have an employer sponsored benefit that gets you further along the journey that you need, hey, we are allocating all those dollars, as best possible. And then again, if you have your own just out of pocket pay, you can feel really confident in that. Right. And then for employers who do offer, enhanced fertility solutions, there's tons of great companies out there that, do things differently than us and focus more on clinical, kind of surgical interventions. That's where Famlee can even really shine from a cost savings perspective, because the way we kind of walk our employer partners through it is integrate us into your utilization management as a step therapy approach. So we all know about step therapy with drugs, right? Try a cheap drug before you go to a more expensive drug. It's exciting that we can provide employers with peace of mind, but also a very significant cost savings.
No, that's incredible. And typically I wrap with a call to action. I feel like you touched a lot of that on why an employer should consider, but anything else, folks viewing this, obviously a big portion of our audience are HR leaders, are insurance brokers, or might be an employee that, wants to think differently about the own benefits that they have available to them. Like, what would be your kind of final call to action to them before we wrap today?
So I hear from a lot of, especially larger companies, hey, I've already addressed fertility, so it's nice to meet you, but I've got my solution. And I just want to reinforce that there isn't anyone on the market doing what we're doing with Famlee now, which is actually trying to help avoid more expensive utilization of other services. So just because, you might already have a fertility offering doesn't mean that you can't work with Famlee in alignment with those offerings. And then again, for the employers that aren't offering anything, we are a great, easy way to get started.
Well, Shelley, we are at time. Again, appreciate you and the Famlee team's partnership with us. For folks watching, want to learn more about Famlee, you can always find them now that they're a marketplace partner with us on our website, plansource.com/marketplace. If you have your account manager or sales contact and you want to learn more, you can always reach out to them. And then as always, we will link to Shelley and the Famlee team when you see the post here on LinkedIn or wherever you're viewing it. But Shelley, thank you so much for stopping by. And for the folks viewing this, we appreciate you viewing The Weekly Source.